Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode and live vlog. And today we're going to be initially talking about um, showing respect to others and all of that important stuff. So we'll begin the blog. We have a lot to talk about from yesterday and I think from the day before. I'm not exactly for sure how all of that goes, but we've got time to talk. Let me see if I can scoot up a little bit so you guys can see me better. Here we go. Let's see. There we go. Zoom in a little bit more. Okay, I might be on for a while, but that's okay. Uh, I have all the time in the world to do that, right? Okay, and so um, go ahead and talk about. I'm trying to think when it was busy. Okay, um, so it was Thursday. That's when this crazy stuff happened. I'm gonna tell you the other days were fine. Um, you know, but we'll talk about the holidays. That's probably where everything just um, was weird and all that other stuff to make it a positive. I don't know, but um, Thursday was actually another um, a wild day where you feel like you're on a train or an airplane and it doesn't want to stop at all, and it wants to keep on going, or an air balloon. Um, I don't know how far the air balloons go. I haven't been on one for a long time, many years or whatever. Not sure the last time I went on a balloon ride. It'd be really cool where you can see everything from far away and everything. But I'm afraid of heights. Yeah. Um, and so the question is, does everything calm down? And do you think that everything is going to be calm and quiet all the time? Um, I'm gonna say that each and every day, as far as routines go, that type of thing, um, we'll talk about the routines and we'll talk about routines first. Um, the way I see it is that I wish that the way I see it in my mind and my own thoughts is that, because I mean, everyone's thoughts are different, that type of thing. For my thoughts based on routine, um, I wish it would be the same each and every day. I am getting back to a set schedule, and I think it just actually went the other direction. It just took a tumble, and it was kind of off. And I kept on wondering why I kept getting up at different times of the morning and all that other stuff going on. And it happened on the weekend. The times and everything else were very off. Everything was off routine and everything else. And I got up late in the mornings, late on everything. Even the first day, it was time to go back to the day program. Same thing. And then after that, things started to get better. And then I started getting up between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. But the other days, it was confusing. Why was that? Because we had Christmas and then we had New Year's. So during that time, uh, I've just been relaxed and everything. I've been in a tiring mood. I've been tired, relaxed, where I don't want to do anything, but I still did stuff. Tried to anyway. Whenever the holidays come, that's basically how I am, just relaxed. I'm sure everybody is. And so that's pretty much how that goes. So I'm starting to think that's probably why things were off schedule a little bit, and tried to uh, ram through the pages and just go on with the day. Um, and it was hard to figure out exactly how to do it. I know the way I want to do the routine, but it doesn't always uh, remain the same. And that's what I'm trying really, really hard to do. It normally is the regularly routine schedule, but when things change, then you've got to stop and think or brainstorm. Okay, how am I going to work things out? How is the schedule going to be like? How do I make up for the things that I did not do? Um, what time school's going to start or whatever. Um, uh, all those kind of things in between. So you start to think, am I going to make it through the day? Just think about it. Um, like, kind of like ask yourself, am I going to make it through the day? If some of this stuff is not going to happen, where you want to have your downtime in between and get, housework done or whatever personal things that you have to take care of. We all have to take care of, uh, you know, certain stuff and um, everything and stuff like that. So to make that short, so um, I guess everyone's different. Everyone has their own thoughts, their opinions, all that kind of thing. And so I can't really guess and know exactly what others are thinking, because in respect, excuse me, um, in respect, I don't know, and I'm truthful about this. I really I don't know what others think, like in their minds, basically, like what they want to do every day, decisions and all that kind of stuff. I don't know that because everybody's different. Like me, I have my own thoughts, decisions, all that kind of thing. So mine is completely different. Everybody thinks different ways, makes decisions, whatever. So like I said, I don't know. I kind of know the way I kind of want to do the routine schedule basically, and the rest of the day, and the way I want it set. It just sometimes it goes the other way where you want to not be late for you don't want to be late for a doctor's appointment or other things that might come up, and you also got to think to yourself as well, because this whole video is going to basically be on positive things, and stuff like that. And so you basically have to think to yourself as well. You got to think to yourself as well, is that um, some things are beyond our control. We're gonna just say we might. All of us may think that we have control on some things. I'm thinking we do have control on some things, but like I said, everyone's different. They make their own decisions, all that. So I clearly do not know what they're thinking or whatever, unless I want to, start asking all these questions and whatever. Uh, you know, uh, no names or anything like that. No names or anything like that. All of that is anonymous and is basically private, um, because I respect everyone's privacy. And if I don't, I have to brainstorm it again and try and figure out, okay, what am I doing? Why am I doing that? And should I be doing that? Would be the key. And then we might get mad about it, and think, okay. I guess I'll go ahead and do this. Like, I'll go ahead and do this because I want to do it. And that would be okay. This is the way I want to do it. I'll go ahead and do whatever. And clearly, sometimes we gotta also think um, to yourself, like, number one would be, am I supposed to be doing this? Number two, why am I doing this? So we're gonna do the ABCs, okay? Like the numbers I would say are basically similar. Like if there's three different things, which that they are, so we'd go one, two, and three. So that would be the alphabet A, B, and C. So there are questions right there. Is that for A, which that would be number one, would be respect slash um, what, like, it'd be problem solving. So it's two things that come together would be respect. And then on the other hand, on top of everything else, you would be like, um, okay, there's a problem. Um, I'm doing things that I shouldn't be doing. And clearly, I'm going to say um, that sometimes people like to do that just because, uh, honestly, to them, like I said in this whole video, that all names will remain anonymous. I will not be giving out names, which would be, oh, I had a problem um, with, so let's say I decided to uh, talk about something on a blog and I started mentioning all these names. Is that, and then the second thing would be if that was to happen and you made a mistake, and then you'd also have to think, okay, is that like, is that respectful? Um, and when someone would say, is that respectful? I'd be like, no, it's not. And I would make it into a positive. And no, I'd make it into a positive and know that it was a mistake and it shouldn't have happened. And why did it happen? Because you were mad or whatever. So you felt that you could do what needed to be done, and you basically um, think, okay, I did what I had to do. I said this to so and so, this person or whatever, because it made me feel good, or I wanted to do that. And then you got to think to yourself, we all make mistakes. It happens all the time. And that's a fact. We all make mistakes. And if we make a mistake or whatever, um, and we don't realize what we're doing, if we don't really clearly understand it, and sometimes I'm like that too. The rest of that stuff is anonymous based on other things that I have problems with. That remains anonymous prior to other stuff. So that stops right there regarding my issues and stuff. Um, but I'm mainly trying to make this into a educational blog, educational blog where I talk about it to you guys and try and give you advice on what just basically um, you know um, decisions that we all have to make, and vice versa, etc. So that means everything. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we're basically teaching ourselves what we all should be doing, what is right, what is the right thing to do. The first thing that is the right thing to do is show respect for everybody, and also know that you have to show respect for everybody and treat them the way they would like to be treated, and the same thing would be they would have to show respect for you and treat you as you want to be treated, all that stuff. I mean, we all have to show respect, and it's common courtesy, which is a positive. We all have to show respect for everyone, even if you go to a job and stuff like that. You have to do the same thing, because if you don't and you make a mistake, you know, another thing that you can do, I don't know, everybody's different. I would give you, okay, I'm gonna make this just, I'm gonna turn this into a quiz for a minute. Instead of what I was thinking about before, and I thought, okay, I'm not gonna say that. I know it is a positive thing that I wanted to say, but I'm not gonna go into that because there's more to that. So I'm gonna make it short. So just, if you can, quiz yourself and think of what the answers may be, and sometimes that may help you as far as uh, those other things that we talked about issues and respect and all that kind of stuff that we mainly talked about. And I'm sorry if I'm saying that so many times. But in the past, I would have to go back and look. I believe, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm correct, ladies and gentlemen, I believe I did do a blog. I'm not sure if it was live or not, but I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm currently right, that I did do a blog similar to what we're talking about, but I had to talk about it again because I felt that for those that don't understand or do know, um, would like to learn it again, or you know, from others, and basically we're gonna just say that we're trying to get advice from other people, because if I don't understand something, yes, I'm gonna ask somebody. So advice is actually good, and then talking about the anonymous issue or situation, or uh, it would be a mix of everything. So I'll just say, that type of thing, to make it short and do the right thing and make it as positive as you can. But if you make a mistake, think very hard if you can, and remember exactly whether or not did that happen. Um, if not, you'll probably brainstorm it again and maybe remember, okay, that isn't what happened. That isn't exactly what happened. And you turn the pages around and say, that was a mistake. This is what happened. So you'd go from one and then discuss the other anonymous uh, issue, mistake, and just say it was a misunderstanding. This is what I anonymously have to talk to you about, all of that. Um, just like if you were gonna make a phone call or whatever, um, like you were gonna make a phone call or whatever, and you wanted to remain anonymous, where they say it would be anonymous in private. That's similar to some stuff. I should have said that before. So um, it is good to sometimes educate yourself and stuff like that based on respectful things. So if you make a mistake, make sure that you know, and also when we make mistakes and we clearly try to remember what those anonymous uh, problems were, or a mistake that we may have fallen down on and the train stopped. When I mean the train stopped, that means clearly there's an error and you got to try and remember the truth of it, basically. Try and work it out. Try very hard to work it out. If not, uh, take all the time that you need to think about it. It's not like I'm going to say to you, oh, I better think about it really quick, and then hurry up and tell this anonymous person, oh, uh, this is what I want to talk to you. We got to talk about this anonymous question or whatever. Clearly, it's where you're rushing yourself, or you just think of what you want to say, and it all turns down to where you're in confusion and you're randomly saying things that either come to your mind. I'm not exact that come to your mind or whatever, and you clearly don't mean it. And basically, I'm gonna say it maybe like a way to not tell somebody the actual truth or whatever, and possibly block out the anonymous situation of what happened, where you would block it and say, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it. It makes me uncomfortable or whatever." The thing is that I see about that anonymous situation is that even though you don't want to do that anonymous thing or talk about that anonymous thing or whatever, and it does make you uncomfortable. Um, yes. Question A would be that would be okay if you don't want to talk about it. Like if you don't want to talk about a certain anonymous question or whatever, no one's saying that you have to, uh, no one's saying that you have to uh, tell you. They'd say to you, um, they'd say to you, like if you went to, this is just a general question. So if you went and you had an appointment and your anonymous uh, specialist or counselor, anonymous means no names or anything like that, meaning that anonymous means, if I'm clearly right, um, anonymous would be about one situation and certain questions or whatever. I just include everything and above. That's all I can think of, and that would be A or B. And then the question is, after all that stuff happens, you sometimes, like what I do is, or basically I'm gonna turn that page around again and say in general, like uh the anonymous person would say, am I in trouble? Um, and some people say that, or they don't want to talk about it, and they're basically trying to sit down and talk to you to find out exactly what happened. And you say you don't want to talk about it, and they're like, what's going on? Why are you acting like that or whatever? you know just do do the best that you can to maybe remember um what happened. And if you don't, just tell the person, I'm not exactly sure what happened. Or what I meant is tell the anonymous person, well, I didn't give out names or anything, so you guys know it was anonymous. So you're talking or whatever about the anonymous situation, and they go ahead and tell you, if you need more time to think about it, you can do that. And then when you're ready to talk about it, come back and let me know and all of that. And that's actually a positive right there, because uh, generally that may be one of the questions that they might ask you. And I've heard that before, and stuff like that. So that might be a question that they may ask you. I'm not sure, because everyone's different in their own way. So outside the box, when that stuff happens and you're told all these anonymous things or whatever, the question is, do do I know exactly what's happening outside the box? And outside the box would be, um, the discussion or whatever, um, everything. And so, do I know what's going on? Do I know all of this or whatever? If you're okay, so if it's outside the box, and you're not, you're not included in it, the question would be A and B. For A would be no, you do not, means that you do not know about the situation or the anonymous issues, all that kind of thing. A would be no, you do not know that situation and stuff like that. And also, should you be like browsing in or listening in on that uh, issue or whatever? So if somebody was talking about, oh, I gotta talk to you about this, I gotta talk to you about this anonymous thing or whatever, or something pops up in your head and you wanna, ask random anonymous questions, all of that. Um, when I mean anonymous, I'm sorry, I'm saying it so many times, but it's the only way that I can keep this uh, blog going, and I'm just talking about how you should be respectful and all that kind of thing. So also the other thing that maybe you as a person, like, we're all human and all that stuff. So the question would be to ourselves, are we showing respect for other people? Are we showing respect for other people? Are we saying it truthfully, or are we going to go ahead and say that you're going to gain control of whatever and you get told the opposite? Means that uh anonymously, um you know what you want to do, and um da 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 da. And that's basically where you want to do it your way. And B would question B would be, um it would be it would be turned around in the other direction, and that would be not allowed. And then you're probably going to be told by an anonymous person. They may sit down with you, they may you might have to, like, they might tell you a whole bunch of anonymous things, and you may not be comfortable about it. Try and cover up the talk or whatever, and block out certain stuff, and be all quiet and stuff about it, which that I can understand. And so, um, you know, I mean, some people are like that where they don't want to say, certain things. I totally understand that. And that's like a private, uh, anonymous thing that we all have, is that question number one is, should we be talking about anonymous things and think that we know what they clearly are? No, we do not know that. As a We don't know that. If I don't know outside the box or inside the box, oh, okay. And you're sitting down, let's say you're sitting down and you're having a cup of coffee or whatever, and you're sitting down and you think to yourself, it's just an example, but actually it's a uh, positive question, okay? And it's in this live blog. So, and it's part of what we're talking about, respect, that, and all that kind of thing. Good thing I'm doing this all over again and letting you guys know. But this is actually more in uh, where we talk about uh, discussions and all that kind of thing. That's why a lot of this stuff says anonymous. I mean, uh, people, and all that other stuff, on things that you should and should not do. And so, back to what I was saying. I don't know. We may all do that type of thing, and I'll get to generally what I meant to say, is that when you so the first thing that you're thinking, like everyone's thoughts and thinking and all that stuff are different. So, number one would be question A, is that you may be sitting down having a cup of coffee or whatever, or watching TV, just relaxing, and you glance over or kind of remember thinking that you know what happened or whatever. And let's say you browsed in and the door was closed. If the door is closed and they're talking about an anonymous thing, um, do you, okay, question A is that, do you like, let's say it was something about, um, well, okay, let's say in general it's about you, and they're having an anonymous conversation, and you're afraid of, what's going on, and you're not quite sure. So the question is, number one, are you supposed to be like browsing in and the door is closed or whatever, and listen to a conversation, and then uh, the anonymous conversation or whatever is over, and you're browsing in, trying to figure out what's going on. And that part, are you supposed to be doing that? Um, I'm going to say, for a positive note, is that absolutely not. It's not really a good idea to browse in and listen to other people's conversations, um, because it's not showing respect by doing that, by browsing and listening to somebody's conversation. Like you're walking down the hallway or something like that, and you hear somebody having a conversation. Is it really a good idea to either, let's say they're in the hallway, or let's say they're in the office or something like that, and let's say it was uh, somebody at a school or whatever, and they're discussing an anonymous thing that happened to this anonymous person or whatever, or I generally don't, I generally do not know inside or outside of the box what is going on. So a lot of us either talk loud or silent or very, very calmly. And everybody has different ways of making sure that people don't know what they're talking about, all that stuff. So you probably would think in your head, okay, what is the most common way to have a conversation? Or if one person is having a conversation and they tell you to keep it down, there must be a reason. And they can't talk to this other anonymous person if you're um, having a conversation with friends or that thing, and you're having an anonymous conversation and they ask you to keep it down or completely quiet, or if they're on the phone. Like uh, if someone's on the phone, it's really, really important that you listen to what the person says. So if they say, I'm on the phone, I can't hear. And that's actually a true question. So if someone was telling you, oh, I can't hear because somebody was talking to me, or they had to tell me this anonymous thing that bugged them, or something like that, or whatever, whatever comes to mind, and they can't hear you, kind of respect that, because if you don't, you'll regret it or whatever, and then you're gonna wonder, okay, why did I do that? What is the right way of making all of this better? And all this kind of stuff, but you're calm, you're totally calm still when they're talking to you, and so you're very, very calm when they are anonymously having this anonymously conversation or whatever with you, and you are completely calm. Any of us could be calm where we're sitting there, real okay. So we may be sitting there and we're calm and everything, and think to ourselves, uh, uh, we really, so we'll just say we're really calm and everything like that. As a person, as a human and an adult, you would think, okay, I'm really calm because I want to block it out. I don't want to talk about it. Um, and then on the other hand, you might think to yourself, um, like, okay, if I was doing a blog or whatever, and it was something educational, which that this is where we're talking about respect and all that kind of thing. And so if somebody asked me a question or something about the blog or something like that, like, okay, what did you talk about in the blog, if the anonymous person asks you stuff like that, I would be saying to that individual, no, I can't tell you that. I gotta respect their privacy, and that's a positive right there. We all have to respect everybody's privacy. If we don't, that would be that we're invading the privacy, basically, and that's another positive. And also, so we're trying to randomly, think of what happened and everything else, and then we think to ourselves, like I said, everybody's thoughts and all that stuff are different, so the anonymous problem continues. So let's say it was you or whatever. um this is just general questions, basically, no names, just for the privacy of others. And so you're sitting down thinking to yourself, not okay. So you're thinking, and it's actually a positive, and it is a true question. So you're sitting there in a very calming mode, and you're sitting there thinking, okay, why did I do that type of thing? Why did I, burst out and do this? And that is basically where you're gaining control of the whole issue, where it'd be like, okay, when I mean gain control and think that you're the person that will solve the issue or do whatever to this anonymous person. The question would be, when you're trying to think of that problem and you get told certain things, should you go ahead and do whatever and not respect them and do the opposite? Are you going to be truthful or make an error and lie about it? And sometimes we make mistakes, and that does happen. And they might ask you a couple times to the anonymous person, did this happen or whatever? Or they might be, are you going to listen to what I have to say or whatever? And if you don't, uh, and they try and talk to you about whatever that needs to happen, and if it was an anonymous or whatever, you may not. Okay, so we'll just say, when we talk about respect, basically, um, the only thing I do know, and this would be a positive, would be, and it does reflect on everything else. Uh, so you may be thinking to yourself, and it's a true and positive thing. So after that anonymous issue or whatever happens, you're, um, thinking to yourself, why did I do that? All of that, because it will automatically uh, gain control. So the question is, are you supposed to gain control and do whatever? Do you gain control and do whatever you want? Do you say what you want to say? Um, the question of it is that no, and it would be a big no no. And if it's no, they mean no, right? If the anonymous person says no, they mean no, meaning that, okay, I'm not going to answer this question, and that type of thing. So, that would be, their privacy or whatever. And let's say the other person, anonymous person, doesn't want you to know um, about certain stuff, or they don't want you to talk about an anonymous situation or something in regards to them, that type of thing. And let's say okay, so the other thing, like I said before, they don't want you to do this or whatever. And, uh, and the question is, after that, you may not like what they have to say to you. So, but when I mean gaining control of it all, that would be like if you get mad or whatever, and you just try to get yourself out of the conversation. And it sometimes, I'm going to say generally all the time, but everyone has their thoughts and stuff like that. And like I said, I don't know outside the box or inside of the box what they have to say and all this kind of stuff. And we go ahead and guess at it and say that we know. And that's not really, that is true. That is that we may be thinking what they're thinking, and we're thinking, okay, we know what what happened. We want to say these things. We want to say these things because we want to say them. And question C would be, I only said there'd be two questions, but there's three. Um, you say that you know about everything, you go ahead and gain control of the situation. And then the third one would be uh, decision B, anonymous decision B. C, I'm sorry, not B, but the letter C. Um, I already talked about question B. Now we're in question C. Then it really starts to come down to and it it is important that you listen to what the other anonymous person has to say to you, because it may be something that makes them feel totally uncomfortable and they don't want you to say those things. And basically, to be honest with you, um, we all may agree or disagree that disagree would be like, okay, this anonymous person says this, and they're being truthful. So what I mean truthful is that they're trying to tell you the real truth. And basically it is just very important that you try to listen to their advice. And so you should listen to their advice. Advice also means that you're you're helping the person. Like advice would be, you're helping the person, and you give them advice about, let's say, a program or whatever, or situation or other stuff like that. So it'd be advice. And advice just means that they're trying to help you as a person in a very, very respectful way. And truthfully, it is. they're basically trying to help you, and you go ahead and do it your way. And what I've learned from this whole blog is that, truthfully, for me, um, I do know that I can't always get my own way. Where where it would be, I'm gonna go ahead and do whatever I want. I'm gonna go ahead and do whatever I want all the time, because let's say you were told don't do this, don't do that, like they would tell you in school or whatever, and then you say, okay, um, it won't happen again or whatever. You say that, and then it automatically comes back and you do it again. Um, and so, I mean, it can happen. It can happen anywhere, even if you were a student back in those days and you were still in high school or whatever, and you made that kind of error or whatever. You didn't really mean it, but it happened. Okay, truthfully, it happened, and you did it on your own. And the other question, that'd be question D, is that you didn't really understand or realize what that anonymous person was saying to you when they were sitting down trying to work things out or whatever. And you may have disagreed on maybe most of the conversation or certain parts of the conversation. And that's where everything stops and you begin to shut down. Okay. When you're shutting it down, it's like a door. Like if someone's having a anonymous conversation or whatever, of course you're gonna want to close the door, or something like that. Yeah, most definitely you want to close the door, because that's where you're talking about something. You're talking about an anonymous situation. I have no idea when the doors are closed. One thing is that the person does not want to be disturbed. That's question A. Number two, they may be busy or they are busy and do not want to be disturbed. Or number three, which would be uh, question C. Uh, they might be busy all day and they're in meetings or anonymous type of thing or whatever. And let's say uh, the office door, the office door is closed and they don't respond, or another anonymous person would say, um, "We're really busy in here today. We can't see you. Is there some way that I can help you?" And that anonymous person would do everything to their ability to try and help you, if they can. If the other anonymous person isn't busy, like I said, no names, because I know that if you say, certain names or whatever, just for the privacy of others, that's why no names are being mentioned in this blog or any time that I talk about respect or any kind of blog. I'm going to start saying about anonymous, and if you guys don't understand what that means, if you guys don't understand what the word anonymous means, we can also do a blog on that. So let me know if you would like me to do another educational video on anonymous, and I'd put anonymous, what does that mean, a question mark, and then we can talk about what that means. So a lot of the blogs for right now are, they're going to be very educational. It's not going to be just by going out in the community having fun or whatever. There's going to be a time where I talk about educational things like education, math, that type of thing, or a certain educational topic that I might overhear or overly see or look at, and I want to find out what that topic is all about in the whole definition, and it would tell you exactly what it means and what happens, and this is what happens. Um, this is what happens to you if that anonymous situation was to happen and it was some type of type of an emergency. Um, you're gonna be thinking to yourself, uh, do I have to go here if it's like an emergency or whatever? So you'd be thinking about this anonymous situation. You'd be like, should I make the decision and go to the emergency room, the hospital, and be checked in or out? I mean, be checked in to be looked at, and it wasn't truly an emergency, but you felt that it was an emergency and decided to go anyway, and it wasn't an emergency, really. So if you went to the emergency room and just went there and it was like an emergency or whatever, and you either drive yourself or 911 would be called, or you'd be calling 911 and saying, come and get me. This is what's wrong with me, all that kind of stuff. But let's say um, they say that you're perfectly fine, or I really don't know. Like I said, I don't know what people are going to say or do or ask the person. I don't know that. I might be thinking in my head, oh yeah, I know what this person is going to say or ask me. But question is, sometimes I realize I don't know what the anonymous person is going to ask me. So then after that, clearly I'm thinking to myself, am I in trouble or anything like that? And the anonymous person, the one that wants to talk to you, would say to you in a very respectful way to, respect your privacy and that type of thing, because we all have to respect everyone's privacy. That's very, very important. So if you have heard the word HIPAA, meaning just think about the hippo. Then after that comes HIPAA. So HIPAA would be that if other people say, uh, "Oh, I'm here at the emergency room or at the hospital, and I want to um, see this person," or I would like to know the status about their anonymous uh, problem, that type of thing, like what's going on here or there. Can you tell me that whole situation or status? And the question that breaks down to, and this is about respect as well. So let's say you went to the hospital or something like that, and your anonymous friend or whatever neighbor gets hurt or has a heart attack, seizure, whatever, asthma, or whatever might come in between. Knowing that it's an emergency, uh, A, do you know what that emergency is all about? Uh, Number one would be no, you have no idea. Unless the person calls you on the phone and discusses that anonymous situation or concern or whatever, and they call you and they really really need your help and they need to talk to you, or they might ask you, can you anonymously do this for me, anonymously do that for me, or whatever that situation is. Because like I said, a lot of us, and I'm going to say everybody, I'm going to go ahead and say everybody should know, even I know, that when a situation comes up or whatever, some of us or everybody would be guessing to themselves, oh yeah, I know what this problem is, I know what this situation is, blah 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 blah, yada yada yada. I know this, I know that, everything, and you're getting told, oh no, you do not know everything. You don't know everything. You don't know what happened and all that kind of stuff. You don't know um what happened and all this kind of stuff. So you can't say that. And then you ask the person or the one that's telling you that question, uh, and then you're like, okay, uh, can you tell me what happened? Or you say, can you talk to me about that situation or whatever uh, they were talking about? And then question B is going to be back to the question that we basically have been talking about respect, and then uh, HIPAA, which is privacy, and HIPAA is a privacy law, means that if you ask if you ask somebody about, like I said, if you ask somebody about, um, can you tell me about, um, can you tell me about uh, this, and this, or can you tell me about uh, this other thing, uh, and then the other person is trying to randomly think fast, and they kind of know what's going on. We already know about the HIPAA thing. We know that it's privacy and everything and all that. No, the person is going to basically truthfully tell you in all respects. If you ask somebody about uh so let's say it was like an okay, let's say it was an accident. Let's say it was an accident, or somebody gets injured or whatever, and where they have to write up reports or whatever. Um, and then you go ahead and say the next day, um, or that same day, um, can like okay, let's say they asked you a question about what anonymously happened uh during that time, and you tell them exactly what happened to yourself, which is fine. I totally understand that, because yes, they'd ask you all that stuff. And that, I mean, that's fine because they're generally trying to ask that type of thing because it involves you. So here comes the other question, and it's a true question. Then after that, you think to yourself, okay, this is what happened. Uh, they're asking me these questions. Then you ask the question, oh, am I in trouble? Um, I'm upset. I'm afraid I'm gonna get in trouble and all this other stuff. In all respects, they will work with you and talk to you. And if you don't understand it, they'll talk to you about it. I can't believe that I'm almost to an hour with this blog. Well, I'm almost done. I usually only make a blog between 8 or 10 minutes, but I didn't even realize what was going on. I will check. Oh, it's 10:39. Okay, we're fine. I was just looking at my watch to see. I was looking at my Fitbit to see what time it was. So, in all respects, you think to yourself, "Oh, I'm in trouble," and all this stuff. Oh, I might get suspended or whatever. Um, in all respects, they are basically trying to tell you um, that you're not doing anything wrong. Basically, we'll just say that. Um, and the question is, even though they're asking you questions about what happened and all this other stuff, and then you ask them anonymously, uh, am I going to be in trouble uh, after I tell you that and it involves you? So if the problem is about you and you have to talk to somebody about this anonymous issue or whatever, the question breaks down to you'd be like, oh, you'd automatically say or whatever that person's gonna say, because I don't know that. And if it was me, I'd automatically say, am I gonna be in trouble or whatever? Um, you know, because like I said, everyone's different or whatever. So, yeah. One moment. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I had to take care of an anonymous call. And so back to what I was saying is that um you're thinking you're thinking to yourself that you think you know, but you think that you know, but you don't. And so after they ask you all these questions like are you okay and everything, or you tell them an anonymous situation that happened to you, then after that you go deeper into the conversation. Means that, oh, if this happened and I told you that this happened, it happened to that anonymous person or whatever, then you're like automatically thinking to yourself, and the next question that you'd be asking is that, oh, am I going to be in trouble if I tell you this anonymous situation and it happened to me? Oh, question C after that. Uh, and then the question that a lot of us would be saying is that, uh, what, what are they going to do? What is going to be said after you tell them? They'll just say that I will have to talk to this anonymous person about what you told me. And then question D would be, like, after it all happens, you're going to go back to that person, like right away or that same day or whenever it happened or the next day. You'd automatically go back to that person and ask them, oh, can you tell me about what they said, what they're going to do, even though you were part of it. They are basically going to tell you, no, they're basically going to say, no, I cannot tell you that. It's confidential. And then this is the problem. When somebody hears that word, confidential, a lot of us are probably thinking, well, anybody could think that when they hear the word confidential. We'll just say that some of us, in respect, might not like that word called confidential. When they say that, that just means when they say confidential, that means that, and it's a really, really true question. So, confidential means is that if you ask them something about whatever, and it's about somebody else, and let's say, okay, so let's say you've seen it or whatever, you're thinking to yourself, okay, or you're talking to your friends about that situation and you anonymously do not know anything about it and you're just randomly guessing at what you think. No, you don't. Clearly, it's the truth. If it doesn't involve you, even though they asked you questions or whatever, you don't know the other half or the rest of the anonymous situation, and you think to yourself that you do, and you don't. And they would be like, "No, it's confidential. We can't tell you that because of HIPAA privacy law." And the problem of it is that it is true. Uh, if the other person told you about this anonymous thing that this other anonymous person said, and they don't want anybody to know a certain thing, and you start asking all these types of things and asking other people uh, about the situation, and you wanted to know what happened to that person or whatever situation or whatever, they're going to say, it doesn't involve you, it doesn't concern you, and you randomly keep going on and on, and then you're on a rampage and trying to get your own way, and you get mad and everything and start yelling at people for no odd reason. And question D would be like, Okay, you're thinking to yourself, okay, not everybody thinks that way, but I'm just saying, it's a possibility there. And that's part of being respect and showing respect towards privacy and all that stuff. So they're talking to you about an anonymous thing. And then you're thinking to yourself that you know, meaning that you know everything about what happened. And I said to you that we don't know everything that happened. That would be inside the box, you don't know what happened. And then outside the box would be questions, answers. Let's talk, let's discuss it, you know, in a private area. And then you're asking whoever, can you tell me about this or whatever? No, they can't. Why can't they tell you? Because it's a privacy law. HIPAA is a privacy law, meaning that they are not allowed to tell you about certain stuff or things that happen, or let's say it's a staff meeting or whatever, and you miss it. Yeah, they would tell you, what they discussed in that meeting or whatever. Let's say you don't go to it, they would, uh, they most definitely would tell you exactly what those changes are or whatever, because you work there and you're an employee and all that. So that's all fine and dandy. Okay, so let's say you don't work there and you randomly try and act like you're a student, go up and say, uh, can you tell me what you talked about in the meeting and stuff? And that person will cover it up and be like, I can't tell you that. It's confidential. And then you're like, and they're like, why can't you tell me that? And they're like, can't tell you. We may not like, okay, so we're going to say, we may not like, we may not like, but for all reasons and always and always, always and always, show respect for other people and treat them the way they want to be treated. But if you disrespect them, then that's telling a person that you're not showing respect towards them, and that would be where you're gaining control of the situation. So it would be like disrespecting them, gaining control of the situation, doing whatever it is that you want to do, and then you get told the opposite. No, you should not be doing that. All this stuff. So yeah, and then you might get mad or whatever and think, oh, okay, and then then you finally calm down. So, uh, like I said, if you don't understand something, yes, it's important that you ask. And then the question would be if it involves you. That's one thing. Of course, they'll tell you if it's about you or whatever. But if it's about somebody else, they will automatically tell you in their own words on uh, the HIPAA thing. Well, we all know about HIPAA. If you don't, you know, you can look it up or whatever, or you could ask somebody about it. And that's a general question. If you don't know, you can get information about it, or they will tell you what it's all about. So that's most important. So, next, the next topic that we will be talking about would be, okay, the next thing, the next topic and the blog that we'll be doing for next week, maybe this week, I'm not sure. Probably. And or even next week we'll be talking about part two. The second thing we'll be talking about would be talking about we'll be talking about versus safety and versus situations and some other stuff. So we most definitely will be talking about safety issues and things that you should know about, and then things that you should and should not do, and things that you don't know anything about, and then it would the uh, the subject would continue, and then you would be thinking, okay, uh, you know, anonymous this, anonymous that, anonymous this, anonymous that, to make that short. So there's like four different anonymous things that you either want to do or whatever and stuff. And I'll tell you all about it part of this week and next week. If I see it, that would be part of our blog. So even though I see something, um, it would be a topic that that can be discussed, and it would also be advice, knowing that you're helping the person and telling them everything that they needed to know about all, everything. We're talking about a lot about advice and all different kinds of topics. So that's very, very important to know about, safety and all that kind of stuff, emergencies or whatever. So I'll be thinking about other topics. So that's why I'm telling you ahead of time. So the next two blogs, I'm sorry, will be about safety, emergencies, and uh safety and all that stuff, and then things that you should and should not do. So they'll be on separate blogs, maybe all on one blog. It depends on what else comes up. And then we'll talk about changes to the channel if there's any changes, but I know that there are no changes to the channel, not that I can think of, meaning that they would be things that I'm adding to the channel or things that I won't discuss anymore or things that are being taken out because people are not respecting the privacy of what I have to say. So people get mad because they can't answer those questions or they want to know everything. So there's going to be a lot of things that we talk about, and it's generally going to be important things of what you need to know. And then if it's about autism or special needs, that I most definitely can talk to you about, and I will tell you most of what I do know respectfully, and I'll do it like as a short uh, discussion or whatever instead of making it into a long conversation. So there'll be quite a few blogs, and I'll figure all of that out um, today, and I'll have all the topics and all the blogs and what we're going to be doing, and then we'll talk about doing some more blogs out in the community. There might be one scheduled next week or this week. We'll have to wait and see what happens. So I'll see everyone later for the rest of it in part two. This is part one, but we'll have part two later on this afternoon. If not this afternoon, then it'll be tonight. We'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching Eric's Autism World. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Willing that it's a very important topic, very informational, and it's also important to everybody that we hear those things. Because if we don't, how are we going to know? So that's the other question, truthfully. So I'll see you guys again with another vlog later on this afternoon. And thank you so much for joining me for this live video. Because I thought I'd bring out this topic since that it was discussed and it was on the schedule. Well, this topic was not on the schedule, but it's like if I hear about a certain topic or whatever, and I think to myself, it is important to discuss that or tell you those things and give you advice, I can certainly do that. But sometimes we already know because we either researched it or whatever, or somebody sat down and excuse me. Well, that's the first time I've done that on a live blog is sneeze right before the video is over. I'm sorry. That usually doesn't happen. It's just that allergies have really been bad this year and last year. And colds and stuff and flu are going around. So there's a bug around. So I'm not sure what it is, but Most of the time, it's allergies for me, and maybe some other things. So just be careful this year because we've got uh, colds, and that type of thing going on. So make sure that you wash your hands a lot and just be careful. Don't be around the people that are extremely sick or going to get sick, and you start thinking to yourself, um, are they sick? Do they have a cold or whatever, and they're sneezing and coughing, and not covering their mouths or whatever, and sneezing on other people? You begin to wonder, do they have a cold, flu, or whatever? So there's a common question that you could sit down and ask the person, the anonymous person. You could sit down and ask them those questions. And commonly, that is a normal question. It's a common question. It's not personal or private. It is just something that you generally want to know. And, both of you guys can learn from that. And you pretty much would know the question, especially if a person does not understand or know what that topic is or that question, help them out. And then any kind of advice or anything that you can do to help one person or everybody, or let's say I needed help with something or I needed advice about something, if I didn't know anything about it or want to learn from it, kind of help me out a little bit. If I ask you, can you get me some info on this? I need advice about this, or whatever this anonymous thing is that I want to ask. And the other person will do everything in their ability to help you out. And then commonly, uh, in all respects, they will try and help you more if you generally listen to what that person says to you. Because commonly, we are all we are all a united front. A united front means that, like I said, a united front means that we're all in this together, and learn from we can all learn from it together, and just listen to the person, and see what kind of advice that you can learn from them. And then you could probably get a quiz, question, answer, that type of thing. And if you want to know more about it, ask them, can we talk about this anonymous topic or whatever situation, because I don't understand it. So make sure that you try and uh, do those in particular things that we talked about in this whole blog. And if you don't understand it, please let that person know about it. That would be really good to know. So I would probably encourage you to give me some likes, because this is all positive. It was a very truthful live video because I had gave you guys a lot of advice about this whole topic today. I talked about things that came to mind, and that's what counts. It's very important that you're positive, you're respectful to the other person, and respect them at all means, and also respect their privacy as well. Even though that we all want to know everything that's going on, truthfully, the other person is automatically going to tell you in their own way, if they're comfortable or not talking about this about an anonymous situation. And let's say it doesn't regard you, uh, you know, so you shouldn't be asking me that or whatever. But like I said, I don't know what everyone's thoughts, decisions, or talks that they have with other people, because commonly all of us do not know that. Like whatever happens outside the box, we don't know what was said or what's going to happen or whatever. Um, like they're not saying that the anonymous is not saying that because they want to say it. They're just saying that, respectfully and as nicely as they can put it. They're not saying it to be mean to you. They're doing it due to privacy and all that kind of stuff. And if you don't really understand it, at all means, do the right thing, and truthfully do the right thing, and everything will be worked out. And if you don't respect others, they will respect you as a person, and commonly you um, respect them, and you want to be respected. Um, so it would be like, please show respect for me, and I'll show respect for you. But if you do the opposite and be like, I'm gonna disrespect this person or whatever, and the other person says the same. So the both of you uh, guys have the same thing in mind, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm gonna tell you the opposite, and both of you guys, or one person says that they want to do that, the other person wants to tell you the truth about it and the positive aspect of it. And even though we don't want to hear it, we have to know these things, because if we don't, commonly, we can't, we don't know that stuff. It's very important. Otherwise, you can get yourself in trouble. And the good Lord knows that you don't want to get in trouble and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about. And also, QD would be when you think that you know what the situation is about, or whatever. Um, you don't really know what the situation is all about, or whatever was said to this anonymous person. A lot of times you don't know what was said and all that kind of stuff. But if it was in regards to you, then that's one thing. But when they tell you that you don't know what happened and all this stuff, you don't know what was said. Um, the first thing they're gonna say to you is, it's it's the first thing a person is gonna say, it's none of your business, or they're gonna say it in more terms, like they're going to be very respectful to you if you are really respectful for them, and do a QA and listen to what that person has to say, because I know that uh, a lot of people will take it in a deeper kind of topic and make it even worse than what it already is. And last thing is that you should never, never, ever, 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 and commonly some people do that. Maybe we all do that. Um, we should never ever. I mean, it happens. Mistakes happen. So, one thing that we all need to work at and can work at is that we shouldn't uh, gain control and say what we want to say to a person, and say that they know that, and say that they're like whatever, and you really aren't. You can't tell that person, uh, what to do or anything like that. You just can't do that. And that's the truth. So, like I said, um, you really got to be, you really have to be very careful about what you say and do. If not, you're gonna be told the other, and I'm sure you guys know what that means, and that would be talk, a long talk, maybe not a long talk, but they're just trying to help you out and all that. And also, even if it's a topic or whatever, and it's stuff that you're not comfortable with, you can learn from that other person, and then the other person that doesn't understand would like to learn it from you, because you have learned it from another person. And if they say, I would like to do some of the things that you do. So what that means is that you're working together as a united front, meaning that we're all in this together, and we make things happen. So that's what a united front is that we're all human, we all work on this, we can solve things together, and that's the truth. Try to um we try to work things out and do problem solving together. And, you might run into different people and they might be talking to you, they might get angry or mad about something, and you decide to yourself, and it's actually a true thing. Like if someone yells at you or says, "Hey, I need to talk to you about something." So they come up to you and they talk to you about their concerns and what they were worried about. And they think that you were doing something that made them uncomfortable. Like I said, be careful what you say and do because they will respond back and then they're going to want feedback and commonly tell you their concerns. And then you're going to tell them story and probably be like, I'm not comfortable with that. And that means if you're not comfortable about it, you'd be ignoring it and covering it up, saying, I don't want to talk about it. And a lot of us do that in a way so we don't get in trouble. They're basically just telling you those things to kind of work with you and make you understand in a very comfortable way that everything can be worked out if you listen to the person, listen to their advice, not argue or anything like that, it all goes good and you can learn from it. And actually, all of us, as a united front, if we don't know how to work together as a united front, it doesn't hurt to get advice and then learn from it from the other person. Once that you learn it from somebody else, then that would be a good topic. So it says, I was able to help this person out because of uh, anonymous this, anonymous that. And then the other person would probably say, probably in their own words, but I'm going to tell you commonly what I would say just to make it short is that I helped somebody that was in need and all that kind of stuff. And I feel that I did the right thing and make it into a positive thing. And then you feel good about it and everything. Um, and stuff like that. And it's okay to say those things and that's really good, but don't like pat yourself on the back and say, "Oh, I feel a lot better because I did this and that. I'm so proud of myself," and stuff like that. And when you say something like that, it's where you get excited that you were helping somebody in need or whatever that problem was, and you're really, really excited. You might get told something else. And I'll tell you more about the other stuff in the next topic. That will be uh, this afternoon or this evening. I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be later on this evening. I don't know what time, but I will make time for all of you guys and talk about other subjects. And if there is a video or a topic that you would like me to do in one of these autism videos or educational videos, please leave your questions in the comment section below. I also like to hear your guys' feedback on the comment section. I'm responding to your guys' comments, and I really appreciate all of the positive things that you said to me about some of my videos. Thank you very much to all of the viewers that has showed, you know, um, a lot of respect and all that stuff and telling me positive things. But if it's something that I don't like where I say don't leave, you know, comments that are about swearing or something that's not respectful, I will automatically delete that comment or I'll change it to where you guys can't leave comments on your blog or my blog at all because I feel that the conversation went a little too far. I want to know about this and that, but you don't want to talk about it, and then you randomly get mad about it, change it up, and get get mad and all that other stuff, and do whatever and say whatever you want to say. Um, when you say what you want to say, it's not really showing respect to other people. That's being very disrespectful. Said before, uh, use your use your mind. Think about what you want to say, and think about what you want to say before you speak. Because if you don't tell the truth, it's totally a lie, and it's being disrespectful, and it's not showing respect towards the other person. So be respectful as you can, and if you need a Q&A on it, try and learn it from the other person. And I'll see you guys in the next live video scheduled tonight. So the next live video is scheduled tonight. I just don't know what time, but that live video will be up for sure tonight. We'll see you this evening. Thank you for joining me. Please leave your comments and likes and all that stuff. And please, if you possibly can, please subscribe to my channel, and you can see the latest live vlogs and all that fun stuff on my channel. So I do encourage a lot of you guys to uh, subscribe to my channel, and then you can follow me and get all the latest uh, notifications, doing live blogs and all that stuff for live videos. So I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys have an awesome day. We'll see you then. And thank you for watching Eric's Autism World channel, and we'll see you tonight. Thank you.